Hey guys, Cassie here. Welcome back to my channel. I want to say first of all that I'm sorry if filming in my car is not the most glamorous and amazing viewing experience for you. I know it can be a little noisy on rougher roads and stuff, but unfortunately I just have not had the time or energy to film this video at my house, and I've been wanting to film this for like weeks. I actually have several things I want to talk about, and I've been wanting to film. I wanted to make a few different videos out of these conversations, and instead I'm just opting to put them all into one, and I have to just film it in my car because otherwise I'm never gonna do it. And one of the things I want to talk to you guys about is kind of time sensitive, so we're gonna get to that discussion first. So I have a few things I want to chat about, mostly some announcements that I wanted to let you guys know about. And the first of which is the time sensitive one, is that I am a part of a group called the Writing Gals on Facebook. If you haven't heard of them, they are 4 sweet romance authors who have a group together. Like they're the hosts of the group, and then there's thousands of people in the group, and it's just a really awesome community. It's absolutely my favorite writing community I've ever been a part of. No offense, AuthorTube, but it's just a better fit for me. And everyone is so encouraging and knowledgeable, especially if you write romance, but honestly, other genres as well could benefit from this community. So if you haven't heard of them and you're not a part of the Writing Gals community on Facebook, maybe go check it out, especially if you write romance. If you write romance, then this is like a no-brainer. You have to go join the Writing Gals group. It will be the best thing you've ever done. That's an exaggeration. It'll be the best Facebook group you've ever joined. Maybe. That might not be an exaggeration. But anyway, the Writing Gals are having a virtual conference which starts this week. I will say this week because I'm assuming that by the time I edit and put up this video, it'll probably be Monday or so. So I believe it's on October 13th is the day that the conference begins. It's a virtual conference, but they do make effort to have a lot of live streams and live events on the Friday and Saturday of the conference, so that it still kind of feels like you get the community and the networking and stuff that you would get at a live conference. And I went to this conference last year, and it was so much fun. I learned a lot of great information. Again, especially if you're a romance author, I would say, to be honest, for the conference and the price of it, I'm not sure if someone who is not a romance author would find it worthwhile. I'm sure there would be a lot of classes that would be helpful for you, because there are a lot that are not specifically centered on romance, but I'm not sure if it would necessarily be worth the price tag. But if you're a romance author, then for sure you should check out this conference. I will put a link for it down below. But the reason I wanted to tell you guys about it specifically is because I have been chosen to lead a class in the conference, and I'm really excited about it. I filmed it a couple weeks ago and submitted it, and the host of the class or the conference said that it was really great and they're excited about it. So my class is actually one that is not super specific to romance, although I do kind of tailor a lot of it to romance, since the Writing Gals community is mostly romance authors. But in my class, we are talking about how to write good, compelling characters, because I think that's one of my strong suits as a writer. So I'm talking to you guys about love languages and negative communication patterns and 16 personalities, and a couple other tips on just how to get to know your characters more deeply and have that come alive on the page. So if you're interested in seeing my class on how to write compelling characters, as well as a bunch of other classes from great authors, and participating in live events, Q&As and panels and some live write-ins, then definitely go check out the conference. I will leave links down below for the conference page itself and for the Writing Gals Facebook group. So that was number 1 on my list of things I wanted to talk about today. And number 2 is the fact that my book, Letting Go, just came out a couple weeks ago. So I wanted to announce that to you guys. In fact, it's been a while since I've told you guys about anything that I've been releasing. So I don't know when the last thing I told you about was, but I have written an entire trilogy, YA romance trilogy this year. Well, mostly, I mean, some of it I wrote last year, but it's all basically been published tail end of last year and this year. So that entire trilogy is out. I have all 3 books out, and I also have a box set available if you'd rather purchase it in a box set. I have an ebook box set, and I also have the paperback, which I actually have right here beside me so I can show you guys. So this is book 1. This has been out for a while, and then we have book 2, which has also been out for a little while. Obviously, the not for resale band is just because this is a proof copy. I don't have any official copies of this book right now because I gave them all to people. But then the new one that just came out is called Letting Go, and this is what that looks like. And then we have a box set ebook version, and then I also decided to make a giant, tome of the entire trilogy. So if anybody wants to, save a little bit of money, they're $10 each. The books are $9.99 on Amazon. So if you bought all 3, that would be $30. This book is $20, so you get a $10 discount to still have it in a paperback version, physical copy that you can read, but it's all 3 books in one giant book. So that is the second thing I wanted to announce to you guys. And if I haven't already talked about it, this trilogy is about a young woman named Charlotte who has just lost her parents, and her aunt is taking guardianship of her, and she ends up taking her to the small town where her aunt and her mother grew up. And Charlotte is kind of dealing with the loss of her parents, especially her mother. She was her best friend, and they used to travel a lot and have a lot of adventures. Her dad was in the military, so they kind of moved all over the place and had this exciting life adventure. And now that Charlotte is without her mother, she's trying to figure out what she wants to do with her life. And she ends up finding some refuge and stability in a boy that she meets in Greenwood, the small town where she lives now with her aunt. And they hit it off very quickly with a sweet romance, but things become a little more complicated when another guy comes into the mix, who is the town's resident billionaire. His name is Ari, and he starts to kind of challenge Charlotte in the way that she's living her life now that her parents are gone. And I'll leave it at that. That's not the best elevator pitch of this series because I honestly didn't prepare one when I was sitting down to do this video because I forgot that I was going to mention that. But yeah, that is what the book is about, or this series, I should say. And then the third thing I wanted to talk about, which I'm going to have to make this quick because I actually am already almost to the place that I'm driving to. So the third thing I wanted to talk about is something called Sweet with Heat romance. Now, if you haven't heard of Sweet with Heat romance, that is to be expected because I kind of made it up. Shoot. I don't know where I'm going. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to turn this off and figure out where the heck I'm going because I thought that this was pretty straightforward, but apparently it's not. So I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back, and I am at the library that I was trying to find. But it doesn't open for a couple more minutes. So, Sweet with Heat romance. This is something I've been wanting to talk to you guys about for a while because it's sort of a thing that I invented. I mean, I didn't invent, the types of books I'm about to talk about, obviously, but I kind of came up with the term. And basically, the reason I put this together, so when we market romance books, we have basically two different terms. Well, I mean, three, I guess, if you count erotica, but two different terms for, I consider erotica to be a totally different genre than romance, personally, but the two terms that we use often are clean, or like clean and wholesome, slash sweet. Like, sweet is technically not exactly the same thing as clean, but people use it so interchangeably that it's kind of become the same. And then we have steamy. And there are tons of books that fall in between those two, that, they're not really steamy, but they're also not really sweet or clean and wholesome either. And that is what I write, is books that fall into that middle category. So in my books, I don't ever have sex scenes on the page. I never have and I never will. But I do have maybe some slightly steamier, like, makeout scenes on occasion. And the number one thing that I have in, I'm pretty sure, like, every single one of my books that completely disqualifies it from being considered clean and wholesome is that I have some swearing. My characters swear sometimes, and that just totally knocks you out of the clean and wholesome category. You can't be in clean and wholesome if you swear. I mean, you can technically put your books wherever the heck you want, but the readers are going to be upset with you. So basically, I was struggling for a while with how to market my books well, because I can't say they're sweet or clean, and I can't say they're steamy. So I don't have, like, that marketing term that people recognize, that you can just say, this is a steamy romance, and you're like, oh, okay, I know exactly what you mean. Or this is a sweet romance, and you're like, oh, okay, I know exactly what you mean. I didn't have that from my books. And I had been talking to a lot of other people who were feeling the same way, who were like, I was seeing all the time on the Writing Gals Facebook group, people posting things saying, like, I don't know where my book falls, because it's not really steamy and it's not really sweet or clean, so I don't really know what to do with this or how to market it. And it was frustrating me that such a large group of books, like anything that falls between sweet and steamy, just is kind of like lost, and we don't know how to market that. So I decided to come up with a term that all the people in my group kind of liked, and that was sweet with heat. So to me, sweet with heat romance means basically three things. So one is that there may or may not be sex on the page, but if there is sex on the page, it's not very graphic. It might focus on physical descriptions a little bit, but more about the emotional aspects of the situation, and it's not going to get super graphic into physical actions. And then number two, there can be language permitted in the books, but the language isn't going to get into graphic sexual terms. So I'll leave you to imagine what I mean by that. The terms that people use for body parts during a sex scene are not going to be used. That would probably push it more into the steamy category. And then the third qualifier of Sweet with Heat is that the themes of the story are going to be at least somewhat sweet, not too, like, suspenseful, because then that would fall into more of like a romantic suspense category, and that would be where you'd want to market your books. So basically, this is what I've come up with, and I have made a Facebook group called Sweet with Heat Romance Group for readers and writers, I think is what it's called. I don't remember if that's the exact wording, but I'll have it down below in the description. And I've actually, gathered a lot of people in that group so far who are really excited about this term, and we're kind of like trying to make fetch happen over here. Like, we're all trying to use the term sweet with heat in our marketing so that maybe we can make that a thing and make it become a more recognizable term that people understand and people can use to market their books that are in that in-between sweet and steamy category. So if you are a romance author whose books fall in that middle ground and you want a community of people who write the same things and read the same things, we actually have quite a few people in our group who are not writers, they're just readers. So that's really cool to know, because I do allow self-promo on Mondays only. I didn't want the group to be totally overrun by self-promo, but I also didn't want people to never be able to promote their stuff. So we allow self-promo only on Mondays. And so it's really nice that we have a whole community of people who write and read this specific genre, and we can share our stuff with each other, we can cross-promote with each other, do newsletter swaps. I have someone on there right now who's trying to set up like a book funnel and story origin promo for our Sweet with Heat books to kind of get the word out there on Sweet with Heat romance. So yeah, if that is something that you fall under that category and you want a community of people who writes the same things as you, you should definitely come join our group and spread the word and use the term Sweet with Heat in your marketing until we can make fetch happen. I think we can do it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this video off there. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on some various things that are going on. These things keep coming up that I'm like, oh, I need to make a video about that. Oh, I need to do that. I need to do that. And I just keep not doing it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do it all in one video. I'll just put it all out there and get it done. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen at all. So that's going to be it for me. I got to go to this library book sale before it's time for me to go to work. So I will see you guys next time. Bye.